Do you remember Contagion, the movie Contagion? Gwyneth Paltrow dies in like the first 5-10 minutes of the movie, and from that moment you're just like, oh shit, like anything can happen now. They killed off Gwyneth Paltrow like right away. Like, holy shit. I was broke as hell, so me and my wife went to see that at like the $2 theater when they still had one around here. And I walk in and it smells like mildew, and the seats are like, the floor is all sticky.
You went to see Contagion and left contaminated?
Literally, it was like seeing it in 4D. Like I was like, this is a whole experience.
Please let that stickiness be Diet Coke.
It's not just a movie. It's an experience when you saw it in that theater.
God.
I remember leaning to my wife like, do you have any hand sanitizer? She's like, yeah, but it's only the apple smelly stuff. I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
I want to gargle it.
I was like, give me all of it. I was just like pouring it on my hands, wiping it on the seat and shit.
Please
like,
let that white flaky stuff on the armchair be Krispy Kreme.
In a world of bad movies, two follically challenged men will stop at nothing to share their opinions of them. Their wives are tired of listening. But are you? This isn't the podcast you deserve, but it's the one you need. Prepare yourself for Bald Guys and Bad Movies.
Welcome to Bald Guys and Bad Movies. I am one of your illustrious hosts, Mike Stella, and with me is the one, the only...
Troy, I'm here.
Troy
Hello.
is here, and I am here, and we are here for you. How's it going, Troy?
It's been a busy day. It's been busy but productive.
Nice.
I created some Bald Guys TikToks and
I saw those.
the Instagram thingy for Banshees of Inisherin episode.
They're great. I love it.
So gonna get off my lazy ass and start promoting this podcast, I guess, so more people can find us. Let's hope. Please spread the word.
Spread it.
Spread it like mayo.
Spread.
That reminds me. Completely unrelated. Do you remember the HBO series Hookers on the Point?
Hookers on the Point?
Yeah,
I think so.
It's called Hookers on the Point.
Is that like, it was like Atlantic City or something?
They were all over the place, I think. But probably Atlantic City. And the guy would, have these interviews with hookers in, back of cabs or car or whatever. But anyway, it might have been Hookers on the Point, but there was this pimp guy, classic pimp, like yellow, furry, fedora, cheetah jacket.
Totally.
And he said something that was so funny but disgusting. He was like, oh yeah, girl, we don't need any lubrication. We'll make our own mayonnaise.
Oh, God. I feel like I remember that, actually. I just remember,
I never forgot that quote.
What I remember from that show is, some girl, getting out of a car, and then she's like, because they had him, mic'd up, at some point, and, they would, go, she, gets out of this car, comes over, she's like, oh, I gotta pee, and she, walks over to, a tree, in the, how they have, trees in sidewalks with, a square cut out?
Yeah.
And she don't even squat, she just kind of, spreads her legs a little bit and just pees, right there, just lets it all fucking go, and I was like, God damn, dude.
Is she facing the tree or facing away from the tree?
It don't matter. It's just, she's not even using the tree. What she's using is the plot of dirt.
Oh, so the tree is not even used for balance or anything.
Yeah, no, she just walks up and just kind of just kind of bends her knees a little bit just to get a nice wide stance.
She's
you never seen
in spite of the tree.
Exactly. She just you see the pee falling to the ground because it's backlit. You're just like, what the fuck am I watching?
It's all steamy, giving ambiance.
Yeah.
Piss steam.
Exactly, because it's because it's fucking freezing cold because they're in fucking Atlantic City in the winter in literally high heels and these super thin little dresses, you know what I mean, and no fucking underwear because they need easy, they don't want to have to take their clothes off. It's crazy.
You ever just looked at the high heel? just looked at it. It's fucking insane, dude. It's sometimes
wonderful.
you just look at things as like the norm in society. It's absurd.
It's wonderful.
I mean, yeah, it's great for dudes, and I'm sure a lot of lovely ladies love to wear the high heel, but I've also heard equal amount complain about it. It looks like a torture device, dude. Like, I don't know. Anyway, how did we get on this tangent?
I don't know. You started talking about hookers on the point, something about mayonnaise.
Well, Mike, you're hosting. What do we, you got to ask the question. What are we reviewing this week?
What are we reviewing this week? Troy, what did you decide that we should review today at about 4:00?
Well, folks, we were there was an entirely different movie we were going to review, and
we were going to review a movie.
Yeah, a movie, and that will remain nameless.
We'll probably still get review it.
Because I do want to see it.
Yeah. I mean, I think after last week, it was nice to have like a good movie that was like an actual good movie.
Well,
so
this week we're reviewing a good TV show. Spoiler
well, at least
alert.
the first 2 episodes,
and it's The Last of Us.
If you don't think there's hope for the world, why bother going on?
You haven't seen the world, so you don't know. You keep going for family.
I'm not family.
No. You're cargo.
The Last of Us.
So it's pretty hot right now. I know a lot of people are watching it, and
I'm enjoying it.
Many more people are discovering it for the first time that didn't play the game. The series premiere was watched by 4.7 million viewers on the first day, the second biggest for HBO since 2010, and over 10 million after 2 days.
What was that? What was 2010? Game of Thrones?
Probably. Mike, you just recently played the first game.
Well, I knew the show was coming out, and I had just finished God of War, the first God of War. I decided I wanted to play The Last of Us because they just released like a fully remade version for the next-gen consoles, and the show was coming out soon. So I wanted to play the game before the show started, and I beat the first one, thought it was great, like really good, and now I'm playing the second.
The first one is... I know for a fact I've played that one at least 3 times.
Really?
Yeah. The original PS3 release.
Oh, wow.
And then I think I just played it again for the hell of it. And then the remaster for PS4.
I guess I could have played this when it first came out then, because I had a PS3. I didn't have a PS4, but I had a PS3.
It came out near the end of that. It was like the last PS3 game. And it pushed it to its limit. Like for a PS3, it looked amazing.
Yeah, I bet. As far as PS3 games, are concerned, would you say it was The Last of Us?
No.
Oh. Little dad joke.
The Last of Plus, PS Plus.
Well, I was going to play the remastered version on the PS5, but you were like, nah, man, they just released like a fully remade version. You got to buy that one. I was like, oh, fuck it.
Did you play that one? Did you play that one?
Yeah. I got the new one.
Remake?
Like, and it's dope. Yeah, it was super nice. So anyways, back to the show.
Season 1 of the show will be the first game, and season 2 of the show will be the second game.
Is that what they're saying?
That's what they're saying. And there's going to be a season 3.
Oh.
At least. So I'm pretty certain that they're working on Last of Us Part 3.
Right.
So hopefully they won't pull a Game of Thrones and
fuck everything
the
up.
fucking show comes out before the game. I doubt that'll happen because that'll be ridiculous. But there's a Last of Us podcast that I recommend anyone, of course, listen to our podcast. But if you want to really dig deeper, after the show, they goes live. They release the podcast as a companion piece to the show. Very informative. If you're interested in the backstage of how shows are created and some of the thoughts that went into the development. Fascinating shit. But we're talking about the Last of Us TV show, at least the first 2 episodes. So I guess we should just focus on the first 2 episodes. We'll just deal with that and not where we clearly know where the story is going to go.
Absolutely. I think that makes perfect sense. But I mean, I really like what they've done with it. I mean, I like the changes that they've kind of made with it. They're kind of cool. they're just small enough to fit into the story and big enough to kind of up the stakes at times.
Well, let me do our patented summary.
Oh, do your thing. Yeah, yes. Our patented summary.
We're the only ones that will summarize.
That will ever summarize.
The Last of Us is an American post-apocalyptic drama television series created by Greg Mazin of Chernobyl fame and Neil Druckmann, who is the original writer-director of The Last of Us 1 and 2, for HBO, based on the 2013 video game developed by Naughty Dog. The series is set 20 years after a mass fungal infection sparked a global pandemic. The infection causes its victims to transform to hostile, cannibalistic creatures resembling zombies. The series follows Joel, played by Pedro Pascal, a smuggler tasked with escorting the teenage Ellie, played by Bella Ramsey, across the post-apocalyptic United States. Guest stars include Nico Parker as Joel's daughter, Sarah, Gabrielle Luna as Joel's younger brother, Tommy, Merle Dandridge as Resistance leader, Marlene, and Anna Torv as Joel's smuggling partner, Tess. I love Anna Torv. Did you used to watch Fringe?
Mindhunter?
Well, Fringe, Mindhunter, but also Fringe.
I tried to get into it like years later, and I just couldn't get into it.
So yeah, that's the summary of the show. I think it's pretty clear. We both love the video game, and so far, 2 episodes in, I'm really, really impressed. It's really well done.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I would say is I would recommend this to anyone who, if you like horror, if you like zombies, you're gonna love it. It's a great story, great characters, everything like that. But if you can handle horror, you should watch it because it's great story, great characters, and it's one of those things that is done so well where the story and the characters are so good, it just happens to be set in a post-apocalyptic zombie world. That's kind of cool.
Now, this is something I gleaned from the podcast. It goes neck and neck with my theory about the show. There's themes of love threaded throughout the show.
Yeah.
But love is in a way that's dangerous
Sure.
love, where love is not always a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Love can make people make really terrible choices or sacrifice things that have, horrible consequences. So, and this is actually coming from Druckmann and Greg Mazin. That is the over-encompassing theme of the show. And I think with the first 2 episodes, that totally syncs up.
Absolutely. I mean, that shines through. Absolutely.
So what do you think of, let's just talk about casting for
Sure.
first. What do you think of Pedro Pascal as Joel?
I mean, he's Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
He can be anyone. You know what I mean? He is phenomenal. Oh, man, I still haven't seen the fucking Nick Cage movie with him that I really want to see. Dude, I want to see it so bad.
How have we not reviewed that?
I know.
What's it called? The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
First thing that I was blown away by him in was
Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Holy shit, what a fucking masterclass in character. Can't take your eyes off him in fucking Game of Thrones, dude.
Last of Us, it's been kicked around for years, probably over a decade, in terms of talking about, making this. Neil Druckmann mentioned in the podcast that for a while they're very close to making it a movie, but they just couldn't fit it into, a 2-hour movie without losing, what makes it special. And, failed adaptations here and there. Hugh Jackman was always the fan favorite. And this is when the game was first released and there was...
Oh, really?
Yeah, everyone wanted Hugh Jackman to be Joel.
I feel like Hugh Jackman brings too much baggage of the Wolverine to a character like this. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He'd probably be fine. He'd probably be better than fine. He'd probably be really good. But I personally think it'd been too much baggage. I mean...
Well, especially
look at Logan.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Especially with Logan,
it is Logan.
It is.
You know what I mean?
Basically what Logan is
to
a degree. So, and then Bella Ramsey. There's an actress. I don't remember her name.
Caitlin Dever. I think that's who it is.
She looks exactly like Ellie from the game.
Yes.
And a lot of fans were really upset that Bella Ramsey was cast just because of her looks. But I will say, I mean, she has an interesting look, I got to admit, but she encapsulates the spirit of Ellie really well. Like, if you close your eyes, it sounds just like Ellie from the game. The spirit, the energy, even the voice. The voice actress for Ellie, Ashley Johnson, she was actually involved in some capacity in the casting.
Oh, okay.
And Bella was her top choice because she was like, that's Ellie. She is.
Oh, really? It was so that voice actress really liked Bella Ramsey, huh?
And Neil Druckmann and everyone else, right? It wasn't just
Caitlin Dever. It's crazy how much she looks like the girl in the game. Like it's insane how close.
Well, let's talk. How much does that matter? How much does it matter to you?
I don't think it matters that much, but I'll tell you the truth. I feel like Bella Ramsey is pretty good most of the time, but there's times where I feel like I think she's a pretty good actress. I don't think she's great. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
And Pedro Pascal is phenomenal. So anytime she's acting directly opposite Pedro Pascal, she gets a lot of that. You know, when you're acting opposite someone, they can just raise your acting level so much because, you know, acting is reacting. And if you have something really good to react off of, then it's like, you know, it's a no-brainer if you have the littlest amount of acting chops. You know, but I feel like the one shot that I didn't like of her, and she's not even the main character in the shot. The main character is Joel. It's when Joel's beating the Fedra guy.
Right.
And you can see her like off to the side, like enthralled by him beating the shit out of this guy. And it just, it didn't really sell it for me. It didn't.
Her expression didn't sell it?
Her expression didn't really sell it to me. It seemed a little too, you know, cheesy pie.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, the rest of it, I mean, I think she does really well. I think she encapsulates the character of Ellie extremely well for 99% of the time. So I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it for now, you know?
One thing they said in the podcast that was interesting was when Pedro Pascal was trying to crack the character of Joel. Because in the game, Joel is, you know, in the first game, you play as Joel. I think there's a couple that near the end, you switch over to Ellie.
Yeah, you switch over to Ellie for a little bit.
But mostly you're Joel. And Joel is a bone-breaking, head-shooting. He is a brute, right? He's just, it's been 20 years since the world fell. He's a smuggler. He's hardened.
Yep.
Pedro was trying to find his way to the character, and he was like, I know you can play tough, Pedro. We know that. What we need you to play is someone who's afraid, someone who's scared inside, someone that a vulnerability, right?
Exactly.
And I think he does that really well.
Hell yeah. Fucking hell yeah, he does.
He could brutalize and beat someone to death, but yeah, that scene was great when his hands were shaking and, you know, the bloody knuckles, and I guess you could say it's PTSD from when his daughter was killed like 20 years ago. So,
well, and that's what they said, like in the after behind the scenes thing after the show, was they really wanted to show that it was his parental instinct kicking in to just protect this girl behind him, even though at that moment it didn't matter that wasn't his daughter. He was protecting her as she was.
He mentally time traveled back to that moment that changed everything for him.
Yeah, and absolutely.
Just lost it. Anna Torv did a really good job. And spoiler alert, she dies in episode 2.
Right.
And even, you know, I'm a little sad because she was such a good character. Like
she was good.
And the relationship between her and Joel
was really good.
Because Joel came across as, he was almost muscle. Yeah. Right? And in the game that was there, but I feel like they were
accentuated here, and they really wanted it to come off that way.
Like it read more that
she was the brains of the
operation. He was a weapon that she could just aim, right?
Yep. And she does it very well, I feel like. Like, she really does a good job of making Joel do what she thinks is best.
Did you have that impression when you played the game?
I didn't really. I mean, it seemed, I think mainly because you're inside Joel's head. You know what I mean? Like, you're controlling Joel, so you do kind of felt like an equal partner with her. It was it was a very equal partnership with her, I thought. But yeah, I thought she was really good. You know what I thought was really cool? I really liked, even though I didn't think she was amazing, I liked that they used the voice actress for the Firefly chick who initially had Ellie. Marlene is the name of the character. Her name is Merle Dandridge. That's the voice actress from the game.
That's the actual voice actress?
That's the actual voice actress from the game.
Nice.
And she was so happy.
How did she make it through?
I think it probably had to do with she was good enough. She had encapsulated the character before. She was dying halfway through the first episode. You know what I mean? And she was good. I thought she did a good job. You know what I mean? Like, I thought she did a pretty damn good job, especially considering she's a voice actress.
Well, Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson, they have probably small parts, but they're in the show.
Who?
Troy Baker, who is the voice of Joel.
Oh, right.
And Ashley Johnson, who's the voice of Ellie. They actually have on-screen roles later on. I think one of the dead Fireflies was Neil Druckmann. I don't know if you know what he looks like, but he's got
yeah.
When they bring Ellie to, is it the museum or wherever they're supposed to meet up with the Fireflies and realize there's been like a slaughter, the one guy whose head is just like burst open,
completely blown out.
Yeah.
Oh, that was him.
I think it looks like him. It may not have been.
Probably it could have been. I mean, Oh, and Nico Parker is the daughter of
Thandie Newton.
Yeah.
So there's some really, in my opinion, good changes to the nature of the fungus and the clickers.
Before we get into the clickers and the fungus, I wanted to bring one other thing up about story. And I thought what I really liked was that we got backstory on the virus.
Yeah, that was.
I fucking loved that.
The episode 1 open in 1968 was amazing.
So fucking great.
True, fungi cannot survive if its host's internal temperature is over 94 degrees. And currently, there are no reasons for fungi to evolve to be able to withstand higher temperatures. But what if that were to change? What if, for instance, the world were to get slightly warmer? Well, now, there is reason to evolve. One gene mutates, and an Ascomycetia, Candida, ergot, Cordyceps, Aspergillus, any one of them could become capable of burrowing into our brains and taking control, not of millions of us, but billions of us. Billions of puppets with poisoned minds, permanently fixed on one unifying goal: to spread the infection to every last human alive by any means necessary. And there are no treatments for this, no preventatives, no cures. They don't exist. It's not even possible to make them.
So if that happens,
we lose.
And then the episode 2 open was great too, getting to see the actual beginning of how. I wonder if they're going to do that every episode, where we get a little tidbit of what happened before the outbreak actually happened. That would be really cool.
Well, funny you should say that. Episode 2 of the podcast, Glenn Mason talks about this, because this is something the show can do that the game can't. Right. And in the game, there's a danger of having the player be too passive, right?
Yeah.
You have to keep the action and the player invested. But with the show, here's an opportunity to explore some of the backstory. He had a great point, whereas the first 5 minutes of a show, that's when the audience is most open-minded, right? So it feels like a good opportunity to slip in some of the backstory. I don't know if they're going to do it every episode, but they were talking specifically about episode 2. The show, The Outbreak.
I hope we get to see like how it actually mutated. You know what I mean? I hope we get to see that. Well, that would be really cool.
So, interesting tidbit for episode 1, that 1968 opening.
Right.
This was something that Glenn Mason had pitched to Druckmann, and Druckmann was like, it's kind of on the fence. The originally was scripted. It was almost like a nature about the fungus in ants.
Oh.
Because that fungus actually exists in real life.
Yeah.
And it was like showing how it attacks an ant, and then the colony would literally like, you know, toss the ant out because it was diseased and could be a danger. And that's how it started. Like when they were in the edit or getting close to that, it's like, he pitched it again. And for this time, it's like, yeah, let's do that. Because it feels too much like a nature show. I'm glad. The reason he did it gives a history and a forebodingness to this. So in 1968, it was known that this thing is coming, right? Along with a lot of things like the pandemic we have just gone through. We have been warned about that, right? And, 100 years ago went through a pandemic.
Yeah.
And there's always these people that are like, usually in the scientific community who's warning us.
I saw this one video. This guy was talking. I was like, dude, COVID was nothing. He's like, that was a relatively mild virus. He's like, there are viruses that sweep through, he's like, we saw a virus a few years ago that swept through a chimpanzee community where the survival rate was like 80%. So that means 20% of any chimpanzee who got it died.
Right.
20%.
Right.
Like, that's insane. Granted, they don't have our medical, facilities and stuff. So more likely that 20 would probably be brought down to 10. But 10%? 1 out of every 10 people who get it die? Like, that shit would... That you think shit was crazy before, like during COVID? Like, holy shit.
Well, but that's also the other reason why I think it's genius that they went with that 1968 Dick Cavett-like show with the experts talking, because we have just gone through a pandemic and they wanted to right off the bat, because everyone's kind of got pandemic fatigue and right. Another pandemic. No, this is some shit that's even worse, and there's no hope. There's no vaccine. There's no way
to make a vaccine. There's no way to,
There's no running from it. You're just fucked if you get this. The human race is pretty much almost extinct if this happens.
Well, what about the lady? She was like, she was so terrified. They're like, he's like, what about a vaccine or medicine? Or she's like, there is none. There's no way to create one. He's like, well, what do we do? And she's just like, bomb the city, bomb every city that this has been seen in. Bomb everywhere that this could possibly be. Bomb everywhere.
And can I please go home and be with my family?
And be with my family before you bomb us back to the fucking Stone Age.
Right.
Holy fuck.
Oh, so a change from the game, a little slight change, was because in the game there was a lot of spores in the air. And they made a good point in the podcast. It's like, we needed to be more logical about this. And how could we localize? How could it be concentrated spots instead of just spores floating all over the place?
Right.
That's when the little tendrils, which was a nice addition. And the hive mind.
The hive mind idea was great.
Neil Druckmann in the podcast, he was like, when I heard that, I was like, fuck. How did I not think about that for the game? Because think about it. In the game, now it's not just sound, but it's like where you step.
Yes.
Anna Torv's death scene. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
I didn't like the kiss thing. I thought it was weird. I mean, I get the idea is like he sees that, she's infected. I don't have to kill her. I'm just going to get her more infected with more tendrils and stuff. But it was a little, I don't know. It was a little weird to me, the whole kiss thing.
I liked it. It
looked too much like a kiss to me. You know what I mean? Like, it felt like a kiss. It didn't feel like a infected thing trying to, put more stuff in her. Like, it just didn't feel that way to me.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because their intention in that moment was to show that the fungus actually loves itself. Like, when you're one of it, then it embraces you, right? It wasn't a violent act of tearing her apart because it didn't need to. It was almost like an intimate, because they toyed with the idea of doing it more expected, where it just attacks her and violently.
Well, personally, I would have split the difference. Mm-hmm. I would have had it kind of walk up and like maybe it opens its mouth really wide, its eyes roll back in its head, and the tendrils come out further and kind of like go in all the orifices. Go in her, like it goes to her eyes, her nose, her mouth, like starts to stretch out to her ears, because that would make it you wouldn't have that weird sort of like embracing like thing that I felt was odd, because this is a fungus. Let's be real. It's a fungus. It doesn't have upper level ideas.
But that's the question, though. It is a fungus. So is the human brain completely? Is it scooped out? Is it nothing but fungus, or are parts of the human brain attacked enough that
who
it
knows?
can puppeteer?
They can say whatever it is. They can make that decision on their own. But me personally, I just felt that felt too human. Right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I felt like if you kind of had it do what I said, then it wouldn't feel as human. So I think it would make a little bit more sense. And I was watching this. I sent you a little clip of this documentary, this Wired, a little mini documentary on Facebook where it talked about how the reason the animals act the way they do when they get exposed to cordyceps is it's releasing chemicals that act as neurotransmitters which cause certain actions to happen. That's why they do what they do.
What would you classify this show? Sci-fi or horror? Sci-fi horror?
I mean,
more horror than sci-fi or both?
Definitely more horror. I mean, it's like a sci-fi horror film. It's like, what would you classify Event Horizon?
Sci-fi horror, I'd say.
Yeah. So I'd say this would fall in there. You know what I mean? More horror than sci-fi, whereas Event Horizon was more sci-fi than horror, and then it was more horror than sci-fi at the end.
And I want to make it clear to anyone listening that's on the fence or really doesn't know anything about it. The word zombies thrown around a little too liberally. I guess you could say in a day it's like a version of a zombie, but it is far more interesting to me. It's more of an ecosystem, and the fact that the fungus that play, and then later on we know it because we play the games. There are other types of infected. I mean,
if you've seen a trailer, you watch a trailer, there's other types.
There's the bloaters. There's the freshly infected. There's the clickers.
Yeah, the clickers are creepy as fuck.
Let's talk about the clickers. Practical makeup effects.
Yeah.
Thank fucking God for that.
They look amazing.
I'm sure the bloaters would be CG because you have to.
They are probably enhanced, CG enhanced. I bet you they have a certain amount of prosthetic and then they do CG on top of it to take it the rest of the way.
For the wider shots and, when it's like a full body thing.
But those are going to be, I'm excited to see those. But dude, the clicker scene in episode 2 was phenomenal.
Yes.
When you start hearing clicks and then you see Joel look at Ellie and he's like, from here on, we are silent. Not quiet. Silent. I was like, oh shit, here we go.
Dude, it's a H.R. Giger horrific beauty. People that have been there so long, they're now part of the furniture. They're
right.
They've been absorbed by the wall and
that stuff's super cool.
Corpses and directly lifted from the game, but now reality.
Well, were there corpses attached to the wall like that in the game? Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't remember it so much. I remember just seeing large bundles of spores, large fungal growths, but I never remember seeing a person growing into the wall they have in this.
They have,
but it's freaking cool. What I really like is the fact that not everyone turns into the more infected ones. Some of them just kind of start to get infected and kind of grow into the ground and just, you know what I mean? And then certain ones stay awake and stay alive and become the clickers. And then those stay alive even longer and they become the bloaters. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's pretty cool.
Pretty cool. I loved how they basically, with a visual, and Anna Torv was talking to Ellie about how they communicate, how the fungus, and they were high up, they were looking down, and it was almost like a flock of birds. If one bird moves, then the whole flock moves. But one, and they're all laying on the ground. And
they were reacting to light. Did you notice that they would react to the light? No. Yeah, if you watch again, you'll notice the shade from clouds is passing over them, and as the sun hits them they rile and kind of get all riled up for a second.
You mean, are you talking about the shot I'm talking about? Is that what that's what was agitating them?
That's what was agitating them was the light,
because it was almost like a bunch of bodies, but it was like a wave of reaction.
Yep.
One would twitch, the other would twitch, and it was you could see it rolling.
Yeah.
Very, very disturbing. So
very disturbing.
Yeah.
And then when he I can't remember who, but one of them steps on the hand or like the leg
Ellie
of like
did, and it cracks inside, right? Yeah.
Well, no, this was after. This was not when it cracks, but when right is like during Tessa's death scene, like right before her death scene, it's like someone steps on like an arm, or no, he shoots one of them in the head or something, right? Mm-hmm. And then you see the tendrils kind of like go up around its arm a little bit, and then it cuts to the horde that they saw before, like waking up and starting to run in that direction. That's what triggered them, and I was like, oh man, I'm like, I am so happy he didn't figure this shit out in the game. That shit would have made it so much harder if like you just killing the wrong zombie like causes a whole horde from like the other room to run at you.
But now I wonder, will he put it in the third game if there's still time? I mean, why not, right?
Yeah, why not?
I mean, over time, it would make sense that the fungus would evolve. Mm-hmm. You know, just like any other natural thing, become a better predator. I liked how Anna Torv, before we find out she's infected, she was kind of walking ahead of the group.
Right.
Which is kind of weird. Neil Druckmann said they made that choice because she already knew she was probably twitching. She was in a hurry to get to the destination.
Because she got bit on the neck, you know, so she's done soon. You know what I mean? So,
and there's a nice little moment where Ellie gets bitten again, and she's like, well, if anyone had to be bitten,
should have been me. Yeah.
But Joel is still doubtful. Anna Torv has that moment of getting mad at him. Like, can't you just hope? Or what was the line? Like,
I don't remember, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, have some fucking hope for a better world. You know what I mean? Like, have some hope for this, you know, for a possibility of a cure.
Can we have a win?
I mean?
Yeah. Can we
stop
possibly
being such
have
a
win?
sad sack motherfucker? Like, fuck.
Joel walks off sulking.
Yeah.
But, you know, in hindsight, that's like that scene has a lot of weight because she knows she's dying. Her last act, if she can get this girl who could be a savior for the human race, get her to the Fireflies. And she tells them, like, let's atone for the things we've done.
Oh, right. She feels like, you know, this can be their atonement.
Yeah.
For the shitty things they did to survive.
Which probably involved a lot of murder. Actions have consequences. That's
of course it do.
All I'm going to say. The violence is way toned down. Like, by this point in the game, you've murdered at least 50 people.
Yeah, people, not zombies.
Yeah, exactly. And I know they said they're going to tone down the violence.
And I don't mind that, to tell you the truth, because I feel like you can't leave a wake of bodies behind you without having a bunch of fucking people actually come after you. And how do you navigate that when you're not in a video game setting?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's easier to suspend disbelief in a video game setting when it comes to just murdering people left and right than it is in a movie setting. In this type of movie setting, which while it is fantastical and it's zombies and post-apocalyptic and stuff, it's grounded. It's very grounded. You know what I mean? So I think it makes sense.
And things should be at service to the plot and also the characters.
And there should be consequences, right?
So violence just for the sake of violence wouldn't make sense. It's got to like be driving something for it.
Exactly.
I think of the series so far, I'm with you. I like the moments that
aren't in the game.
I
like the moments that were in the game, and I like the fact that some of the moments in the show are taken like shot for shot, like they're like literally matching the exact same action and frame from the game.
Greg Mason was asked about that. He gave a really great answer. He was like, "If it's fucking good, why would I change it?"
Right.
You know, I don't believe in just changing shit just to
change it.
If it's good and it works, then great. He's like, it makes my job easier. This is what we want to do. Look at this. Oh, this was brilliant. For episode 1, there's a sequence that starts off with this kid walking.
Oh, yeah.
And at first I'm thinking, well, is that like a baby clicker or whatever? No, it's just a kid, a sickly kid.
Yep.
He goes to the city. The guards, take him in custody, and they're like, oh, you're going to be fine. Give him a shot and, toys and candy. And they behind him, the guy's doing the reading, the meter.
Well, no, they meter him and then give him the shot.
Oh, right. And the shot is likely the kill shot.
Him. Exactly.
And then when we see Joel next, there's a crew dumping bodies, burning bodies, infected bodies. And a new truck has arrived, and she opens the tailgate. And she's like, clearly disturbed. She doesn't want to touch what's in there. And Joel is like, move aside, right?
Yeah, she's like, I can't do it. I can't do this.
He just takes it like it's nothing, like a sack of potatoes, and just throws a kid.
And you see the shoes because they do a close up on the shoes so you can, because they're very distinct looking tennis shoes. And so when they throw them in there, like the body falls and you see the shoes and you know that that's the kid.
So what Greg Mazin said, because the last time you see Joel, he's cradling a child and he's heartbroken. The next time you see him,
he's cradling a child
and dumping the carcass like it's just trash. Like there's no emotion, such a brilliant.
How quickly can we show this guy's metamorphosis over the last 20 years?
Right.
Done in 3 minutes.
Yep, no dialogue, just pure action. And when I say action, not an action, but just what he does.
What do they say? It's show me, don't tell me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, show me what happens. Don't tell me what happens, because it's like you telling me is never going to be as interesting as you showing me, But what about the beginning, man? Dude, the beginning when they're like running from the the scene at the very beginning when she goes over to their neighbor's house to like bake cookies. And one thing that was funny, she's like, chocolate chip? She's like, raisin. She's like, great. That was pretty funny. That's not the part I was bringing up.
Then wasn't he shoveling food? And he was like, hey, you want some? And he like wiped the schmutz off the old lady's lips and offered food with the same hand. It was like, no thanks, rain check. But go ahead.
But what I was going to say was there's a shot where like she goes over to the phone to like call her dad or something, or she's getting her stuff in her bag, and like the shot, it's like it's of her, and then out of focus, clearly over her shoulder, you can see the not comatose, but catatonic. She's like you see the catatonic old lady in the wheelchair from earlier, right? And she hasn't moved, she doesn't talk, she just stares off into space, she has zero reaction, literally catatonic. And you see her just like her head kind of twitch a couple times and like twitch more, and then you see her mouth like open up like super wide, and like she twitches around a couple times.
Wider than it could probably open naturally.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then she like kind of twitches a little bit more and then like stops twitching. And then she leaves, and you're just like, oh, fuck. And that was some ominous ass shit.
And don't forget, the dog is watching her.
Oh, right. And the dog is just like staring at her like all shaky. Like, I was like,
and Sarah's like, what's going on here?
Yeah, totally.
Very, very subtly, things are unraveling.
Yeah, that was a great scene. The dog. I'm glad you brought up the dog, because I almost forgot about the dog staring at her, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
That dog knows what's happening. Like, that was a fucking crazy ass scene.
That's how you develop suspense and tension. Yeah, the masterclass in that. Let's rate this
Let's rate it.
We're rating episode 1 and 2
together. You do the honors, sir.
Because I already know what you're going to choose, so I won't choose it. I'll let you choose it.
I don't know if you do, so that's why I wanted you
to choose what you want. I'm going to choose.
Then you choose it.
I'm going to say I can't give it a perfect score because that's like for the whole series,
right?
But I
wouldn't give it. It's high though.
This is definitely a 4.5.
Oof,
fungal tongue kisses from an infected.
I didn't even think about that. Was that what you thought I was going to give it to?
No. I'm not taking yours, but I'll be surprised.
I don't even know, to tell you the truth. Let me think about it.
Don't disappoint me, Mike.
I hadn't even thought about what it was going to be, to tell you the truth. Shit, man. Now you put me on the spot. Like, I feel like I got to really think about it now.
You shouldn't have to think hard.
Fuck, dude. I didn't even have one, to tell you the truth.
So disappointing. I thought you were ready, Mike.
Oh man, I was.
Those stones are not floating. They're not floating, my friend.
Oh my god.
Go back in the bog and sit in the corner. Think for a while.
Let me think. 4 out of 5, huh?
I'm gonna kick you out of Dagobah.
Kick me out of Dagobah.
No Jedi are you.
How am I not thinking of anything? I'm usually always like on it. I have the thing
I thought you were gonna do something
too.
with the grandma.
With the grandma?
With the comatose old lady.
Oh no, I didn't even think about that. But I should have.
Well, now you can.
But there were no like items. I could just say 4.5 out of 5.
Comatose old lady twitches.
Catatonic old ladies, like, or how about 4 out of 5 suspicious dogs.
Suspicious dogs out of 5. I'll take that.
4.5 suspicious dogs out of 5.
All right. That's one for the stars. What about the laundry meter? Any laundry needed at all for this?
Absolutely not.
Zero laundry.
Zero. I was a little tired when I watched episode 2. But like I said, this isn't a rating system. This is like grain of salt thing. But I was a little tired when I watched episode 2. But definitely got through the whole thing without falling asleep. So.
My lovely daughter had a question for you.
Oh.
Regarding the laundry meter.
I love your daughter. She's a sweetheart.
Her question was, when you go to a movie in the theater, do you
take laundry with me?
No, but do you catch yourself folding your coat or other items?
That's funny. No, but I do catch myself falling asleep, especially if I've had a beer or two before I go in.
Okay. Chloe, there's your answer. There you go, my dear. Love this show. 2 episodes. I can't wait for episode 3.
Yeah, man.
I thought I was going to let it pile up and I would binge it. Look how long that fucking lasted.
I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah, this guy didn't. I was asking him all the way through the week after the first, like, oh, did you watch it? Did you watch it? No, I didn't watch it. I'm like, oh, really? I'm like, you got to watch it. He's like, yeah, I don't know. I think I might wait. I'm like, bro. I was like, dude, I got no one to talk about with this shit. You have to watch it, Troy.
Well, I knew I was gonna love it. And I don't want to wait. I just fucking hate waiting week.
But then at like 5 o'clock on Sunday, he's like, have you seen episode 2 yet? I'm like, what the fuck? It's not even out yet, dude, on HBO Max. Like, no, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, dude, dinner was just finished, and we're in West Coast time, so I was looking at the clock. Okay, come on, 6 o'clock. I got 5 minutes. My plate is ready.
And I was like, I don't want to go home. Like, let's go do something. I was like, let's go see a movie, right? So I should not have. That's a horrible idea, right? I'm already like pretty damn drunk. Let's go see Toy Story 4. Fucking lights go down. I don't even know if I made it past the credits.
Which I still haven't seen, by the way.
Yeah, everyone loves it.
And it sounds like you haven't seen.
Yeah, every time I watch it, I fall asleep. And literally, like at one point, like one of them like elbowed me super hard. I look over my wife, and she's giving me the most evil look.
You must have been snoring.
I was snoring like super because I have sleep apnea, so like my ass is like chainsawing.
Yeah.
So fucking.
You're like the giant at the top of the beanstalk.
Yeah.
Like an ogre dying a slow death.
Exactly.